This is a poem by Hafiz called I Have Learned So Much. I have learned so much from God that I can no longer call myself a Christian, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Jew. The truth has shared so much of itself with me that I can no longer call myself a man, a woman, an angel, or even pure soul. Love has befriended Hafiz so completely it has turned to ash and freed me of every concept and image my mind has ever known. That is from a collection called The Gift by Daniel Ladinsky. Hafiz in this poem is bringing up some interesting concepts. The concept of having to essentially rid yourself of all organized religion because you have such direct contact to what he calls God, but what we could identify as consciousness or the One or the Godhead or anything like that. And in that way, when you develop that direct connection and that direct understanding, then there is only pretense that exists in the organized religious world. And so in that way, those things will naturally fall away as you become more and more aligned with simply the One. He goes on to say that he is no longer calling himself a man, a woman, an angel, or even pure soul. And so in this same way, these are all artifacts that are part of the illusion in which we exist in this world. And this game that we're playing with ourselves as we are the One, or the God, or the Godhead, or consciousness, whatever you want to call that thing, you are that playing a trick on yourself. And so in this way, you actually supersede all of it. You supersede your humanity, your human-kindedness, and then any sort of identification with gender, as he talks about here, or even celestial beings, an angel, a pure soul. These things, along with organized religion, also have to fall away because they are so inaccurate in their simplicity, in their direct contact to this particular illusion. There is a falsity to that because, again, that is the purpose of the illusion, is to trick yourself into being all of these different things, that you are a certain gender and you are a certain type of being and you are a certain religion, and that you ascribe to these things. And so in this way, all of these things fall apart when you have, as he says here, you've been befriended so completely. And so all of these things burn. He talks about them turning to ash and freeing him. And one thing that I'd like to mention here, since Hafiz brings up soul, is this idea that there's a soul in which, when the body is no longer alive, the soul escapes and it goes and becomes something else. But to me, the identification that Hafiz is making here, that the soul is as much a transitory nature as a body that is then identified as a gender, and then that body that also identifies as some follower of a particular religion. He is lumping the soul in with these things because the soul is a concept that I think we have really misunderstood, that it's not this thing that hops out and jumps into some other being or body or some celestial formation that it takes, but in actuality, the closest sort of example that we could give from the illusory world is a drop of rain, a single drop of rain. So you can think of that as a single human that falls from the sky and plops into the ocean. And then what happens to that single drop of rain? It's somehow lost but absorbed. It's both continues to exist but also doesn't. It is not a thing that can any longer be clearly identified. And I think that conceptualizing the soul as something that remains in this one particular form, as opposed to being reabsorbed into the one and being a part of the whole, I think that's where a lot of Western thought and philosophy and religion has kind of led itself astray.